to Exploring Oregon Wine Country. I'm your host, Pauline, and before I get started with my interview, I want to thank Lene Estates and Steve, the owner and winemaker here. It's a beautiful property out in Yamhill. I've been here a number of times. Why? Because the wine's so good, and the tasting is lovely, and the view, you'll get to see the view during the interview. So remember, Lene Estates, and thank you so much, Steve. I appreciate you letting me do my interview here. And I'm excited to interview Trish, who owns an interesting tour company, because if you're out in wine country, how are you going to get around? A tour guide and a tour company is one of the best ways. Trish, you own a wine company called, or a tour company, I should say, called No Whining Wine Tours. I love it.
Correct.
It's a play on words, No Whining,
Yeah.
W-H-I-N-E. How did you come up with that name?
I've worked in Willamette Valley for since the year 2000 in various tasting rooms, and a lot of people come in whining about anything, and here they're supposed to have a good experience and drinking great wine, and they'll complain about the glassware, the pours, or whatever. So I thought when I do a tour, there's going to be no whining. It's going to be fun, and they'll learn things, but no whining. It's supposed to be fun.
How do you keep them from not whining? Probably the way you do the tours.
Yeah, I make it fun. Yeah.
So I love the name, and so I got how you came up with the idea. And so it's not, you're the one that's not whining, because you never whine. I've known you for a while.
Yeah.
You're the complete opposite. So you don't allow your customers to whine, and it's because they have so much fun. I noticed on some of your promotion you said something about we're going to learn and laugh. Now, how do you help your customers have fun and laugh?
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's all private tours right now, no join on tours, maybe in the future, but right now it's private, so they know each other. So we actually get even fun jokes in the car. What happens in the tour stays in the car, in the tour, because they have funny family stories or different things happen during the day. So we laugh a lot, or you're in a wine tasting room, and I've had some great guests, and a person next to us comes in, jumps in between them, starts writing in their tasting notes. So we laugh a lot about just weird things that can happen. But I do tours, so sometimes you're with animals. They can have an alpaca behind them, so there's a lot of laughing. There's longhorn, Texas Longhorns we can use in the background at one of the big wineries. So it's fun. Plus, I've been in the industry a long time, so educational. That's where we learn. We learn about AVAs. We learn about the history of the wineries we go into, glassware, you name it, all the changes,
I find, because I'm in the industry too, that people do want to know about it. I mean, it's so much fun for a person that works in the industry, because you talk about it and they want to learn. It's like you're teaching them, and it's not like you're forcing them to listen to you. So you found that too.
Yeah, it's all about them and learning about something. It's not about me. It's about them and enjoying it.
And you said, for people that don't know it, some tour companies, when you say join in, they get people that don't know each other and they put them on the same tour, which is not good or bad, but you want
it. Not good or bad.
Yeah.
And I might do that in the future for larger groups, but mainly it's just private, so I can concentrate on them. I always interview them beforehand to find out what kind of wineries and wine experience they want. And then during the day, every once in a while, one time they're in Chicago having some wine shipped in from Pike Road here in Oregon. I'm like, why don't we be flexible and change and go to that tasting room and enjoy it? Or sometimes they hear of another one. I'm like, let's reroute. Let's do, so we have flexibility when it's just me and groups. And I do groups of 2 to actually 19.
Oh, you do up to 19?
Yeah, that's a little bit bigger.
Oh my
larger,
gosh.
but yeah.
So what transportation do you provide with
that
19?
One I rent a vehicle, and I also bring along another vehicle to store all the coolers and
so you have a
wine
driver,
cases.
somebody help you?
Yeah.
Which leads me to ask you, do you do this yourself?
Mainly it's myself, but I do hire a few people from the industry that have knowledge and worked in the area.
So you've worked in the industry for quite a long time, and you work here at Lene. So what made you decide, and when did you decide to go from not just being in the tasting room, but to actually taking tours?
I was invited to be on a lot of tours, and then I'm in the Wine Brotherhood and different organizations where they do a lot of tastings, so you have to know more and more. And plus you're treated well and you're taught well in the tasting rooms. So you learn a lot. And so one day I decided, well, let's do tours. And I did a few tours for someone, and they said to me, you're really good at this. Why don't you do it on your own? I'm like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah. I take friends out touring, but I never really thought about doing it as a profession, because that's a big investment too, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely, on everything. Yeah.
Because, well, one thing that's good about going on a tour, and you're different than a lot in that, correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of tour companies, you have to drive to them, You get on the tour, then you have to drive back to your location, but you pick people up, don't you?
I pick people up door to door. Yeah, so it's on the website, the locations, but I can pick up in downtown Portland, bring them all the way out. A lot of people are in the wine country, pick them up. Plus, I do extra stuff. I spend extra time if people want to be dropped off for dinner, or they one day they're at a B&B, and we have a lot of meat plants out here. They want to stop for a steak for their grill, so I always do above and beyond because it's fun. You know, I like to pamper them.
I can tell you really like people. You want to really give some of your service. That is really cool, and I want to promote that because I've had people come to where I work and say, you know, we want to go tasting, but we're worried because I don't think they have Uber. They might have one Uber guy and one, but they don't have anybody to pick them up and drop them off. So I want people to know that you do that because you're very unique in that sense.
Yes, we don't have many Ubers. In fact, I have a funny story. A bunch of ladies stayed in Northeast Portland, which is quite a ways away, and today we're out in Yamhill, Carlton. Somehow they talked the Uber to come all the way in, and and then they left him there. So the tasting room asked me, like, can you come back? And so I finished my tour day and came back, picked up these ladies. It took us 2 hours to get to Northeast Portland, but they didn't have transportation. I'm like, why don't I go out of my way, help you? Because we don't really have Uber. So, and the most important thing out here, too, is not drinking and driving. So is really good. But also picking a guide. We have various, I work in a tasting room, and we have various limo companies or these drop-off services. They don't know anything about the people, anything about the winery, anything about the soil, terroir, anything, and they just drop a group of 30 people, and they're all standing around. It turns into, like, not always a good experience. Like, this is like, I come in, I know the protocol, I know the winemakers, I know people in the tasting rooms, and I know how to guide them in and out, and how to ship things home, all that kind of stuff.
That's important. So it's important to not only hydrate, but to also have food. So do you provide?
Yes, I do, which is really important. I actually had some girls from out of state call and wanted to hit too many wineries in one day, which is not a good experience. So I kind of limit to a good number.
Which is?
Usually 4, yeah, you know, because if they wanted 6, which first of all, our AVA is too big, and secondly, our times are less than in California, and then third, that's just too many. They're not going to enjoy it, and then they didn't want to eat lunch. And I provide lunch because out here, there's no restaurants at most of the AVAs, or you don't have time. So I bring a packed lunch and ask their food allergies, and then make sure they're fed and have a lot of water, because it's important, you know. So, and then they get to have a picnic out in the vineyards often.
With all the extra service you do, you're not that expensive, though, are you?
No, yeah, I know. It's like,
are you making money or losing money?
I know, right? I need to work on that. I know.
I can tell you have a passion for this. This is great.
Thank you.
So, and I got to say this. I went on your website, and, you know, I saw your reviews, and I've got to say, excellent was almost to the 100%. It was like 99%, and the other 1%, very good. So
I know
you're doing something right. I'm so happy that I'm interviewing you. I'd rather interview somebody who I know is doing a great job than somebody who isn't.
Thank you.
So how can they find you? How can they?
Yeah, so on the Google search, I'm under No Whining WHINING, No Whining WineTours.com, or they can go to my website or email at trish@nowhiningwinetours.com. That should all work. I also have Instagram up, and I have a TripAdvisor up. So
if they can't find you, it's their fault.
It's their fault, yeah.
And I think that's great. So not only take people to tasting rooms and wineries, but you take them if they want to. This is amazing. You're an amazing lady, I tell you.
Thank you.
If they want to go to Multnomah, tell us about the extras that you offer.
Yeah, so first of all, I offer even extra help. I'm kind of like all service. So when they call me, like where to stay, I've good ideas for hotels and B&Bs. Where do they want to go for views? Where do they want to go for restaurants? Because they might be moving different areas, and I have a good lay of the land, where to go to restaurants, where to stay, what to do in Portland. And then when they're here, like go to the ocean. Once in a while, they want me to guide them, and so we'll go out to Multnomah Falls, get a good experience, do a little wine tasting there, and come back. But it's I'm kind of like full service. Plus, I get excited because I live here, and we have so many. I had a couple in the car one day, and I just threw out a place I like. It's Andina Restaurant. It's Peruvian. And they're like, we've been to Peru. We're craving that. We're changing our whole plans tonight. And it's like, I want to share.
Are you intuitive? Do you use your intuition?
I don't know. That was really good. I must have been listening well that day, I guess. Yeah.
You know this area pretty well. Right now we're in Yamhill, And a lot of the tasting rooms and wineries are in Yamhill County, but we're in the town of Yamhill. So have you lived out in this area for a long time?
Yeah, I've been in Portland over, oh boy, 20 years probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've been in the industry 20 years. And how
Yeah.
long have you been doing tours?
Tours just a few years, because I worked in the tasting room so long and I had a corporate job, so I could only work at a time, and now
Yeah.
I've changed it over and full-time is what I do.
What got you into the wine business to begin with?
Well, years ago, I was working for a pharmaceutical company, and
Uh-huh.
I thought, what else do I want to do that hits my passions besides, you know, your corporate job? So I walked into a winery, talked to them, interviewed, we have to have a license in Oregon, got my license and got trained and started, and then it was a great journey going forward.
It sounds like you have an exciting life. So what we're going to do a couple of fun things besides sitting here and talking to you. And we've got this beautiful view. I'm sure Phil's showing it on our camera here. Just gorgeous. The coastal foot range, and then so we may take a little tour in the vineyard,
Sure.
and maybe even we could pretend that I could pretend like I'm one of your guests and how I can experience when I walk in a tasting. Would that be fun?
Sure, that'd be great.
Is there anything you want to add?
Probably the most important part is getting a private guided tour is really important. How about like getting a guide that does this 7
Yeah.
days a week and will guide you in the right places, introduce you,
Yeah.
find out the protocol, what things cost, you know, what the tasting fees, and what types of wine. You know, because right now we have Oregon Chard is important, and Rosé is big in the summer, and then
Yes.
a lot of Pinot Noir.
Yeah, people know Pinot Noir is the main grape here
Yeah.
in the Willamette Valley, this part of the Willamette Valley. Anyway, did they ever tell you, did they ever join in with you and say, well, I do want to, they know where they want to go, or did they ever have input into what they want?
Oh yeah, yeah. They definitely have input. I'll ask, what are the places you've heard or you want to go to, and then again we go through what type of their tastes. Are they bubbles? Are they whites?
Oh, yeah,
a little bit, yeah, because we have bubbles in the valley.
We have bubbles, yeah.
So
Bubbles
that's
are
kind
good.
of it's good. I love bubbles.
And
So
one-
I love all our wine. That's
I
the
do
problem.
too. I
Yeah.
do.
So
I
and
know.
I after hours. Except
I'm having a
except-
Chardonnay and you're
except
having a
today,
Pinot
we
Noir.
can actually do this.
Yeah, this is great. This is great. Yeah, did you have any really fun experience that you want to point something out? You don't have to, but if you did, you know, like I met this person from, I don't know, China, and or from London, you know, do you remember anybody in particular?
It's been so many are memorable. It's so much fun. And one guest actually told me, she goes, "You pamper us," because I'm good about service. I love
Yeah.
that, and I love showing off our showcasing Oregon. So I have fun doing it. And it's true passion. I have guests all across the country, and now Canada and England. They came in, and London was in the house. They were lovely, and it was fun.
And they speak English.
They speak English, and they were delightful. They said I gave good American hospitality. But also I had, each one has been memorable. I have anniversaries, 10-year anniversaries, 1 year, 38 years. So it's a pleasure for me to help celebrate and do something special. I do extra things on their tours, which we'll talk about in a little while in the next segment. And it's just fun. I had 3 guys from New York. They're city guys, truly, they admitted. So I took them out to some farm country and some of our wineries with animals. They just couldn't get over it. And they kept jumping over to take selfies with animals. I'm like, may not be a good idea.
Yeah,
but,
really.
but they were like, they're like, we're city guys. We haven't seen a goat. We
That's
haven't
great.
seen a whatever.
That's fun. I can see how you make it fun for people. You find out about them,
Yeah.
and then what they like to do, and then surprise them once in a while. You know, take a city boy out to the country. That's
Yeah.
great. Well, Tricia, it's been so much fun. This is part 1. Part 2, we're going to actually do a little walking around and experience some wine tasting and the vineyards. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching Exploring Oregon Wine Country. Stay tuned. We're going to do a part 2.